This is Roger Stone for American Sovereign Bullion. Since 2020, the U.S. dollar has lost over 20% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to rise. Call 844-272-2428 or go to asbgold.com now to get your free gold and silver guide and learn how to protect your wealth with physical gold and silver delivered to your door or held in a gold IRA today. So go to asbgold.com now. Don't wait for the markets to drop. That's asbgold.com.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Mike Lawler is, as far as I'm concerned, about as good a congressman as we've got in the country today. He's that great. He is the king of Rockland County. He is referred to by President Trump as Mr. Salt, although a lot of people on Twitter yesterday were attacking him for actually getting the salt raise from 10 to 40. So I got a lot to talk about with Mike. But, Mike, let's start with this. Why are things blowing up in Yorktown? As far as I know, that is your district. You told me Sheridan Gorman, the young lady who was murdered in Chicago, is from there. You said that was part of your district. Did I get something wrong this morning?
Yeah, the Porta-John that exploded is in Yonkers. Which is
Yonkers.
Not in my district.
What did I say, Yorktown?
It's in lower Westchester.
Okay.
So Yonkers is just outside the city.
But you do have Yorktown, right?
I have Yorktown, yes, correct.
Okay. What was the second thing I wanted to get to? Oh, I want your opinion on what the president did last night. I know you saw my tweet. I stand behind him 100%. I have adopted trust the man, trust the plan. So even though I may do things differently, I'm just a radio host, okay, not the president. And I would have blown those bastards to smithereens last night. Nothing would have stopped me, nothing. So I'm not going to lie, I was disappointed, but I love Trump. Trust the man, trust the plan. What was Mike Lawler thinking at about 6:30 last night when the predictable happened, which was, another extension?
Look, obviously, nobody wanted to see death and destruction. The issue.
Hold on. I wanted to see destruction. I wanted to see destruction.
Let me explain.
Go ahead.
Let me explain. Nobody wants to see death and destruction of innocent civilians, of people in Iran. The issue at hand is this regime that has been in effect for 47 years that chants death to America, that has sought to impose death and destruction all around the globe, that has financed terrorism, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, other terror proxies around the region. The president has taken decisive action over these 5 weeks to eliminate their leadership. The Ayatollah is gone. The clerics are gone. The leadership of the IRGC has been eliminated. What is left, the remnants here, is what we are dealing with and negotiating with. And for the first time in 47 years, there may be an opportunity to actually negotiate peace. And you have to exhaust every opportunity to do that. And I think the president has been clear about that. He was clear about that last summer when he gave the Ayatollah 60 days to negotiate over their nuclear program and then took decisive action when they refused. He was clear about that with Maduro when he told him it was time to leave and he refused and he was removed. And he was clear about it in the lead up to March 1st when he told them they had to negotiate over their ballistic missiles program, their financing of terrorism, their oppression and mass slaughter of their own people in the streets. All of the people that were screaming yesterday about the president's tweet, where were they when Iran was slaughtering tens of thousands of people in the streets just a few months ago? They've said nothing, these people. And so the fundamental fact is Donald Trump has done what no president before has done. He has actually followed through on the statement that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And I have been fully in support of the effort to ensure that Iran does not get a nuclear weapon. We have taken dramatic steps over these 5 weeks. The outstanding issues are the enriched uranium and, of course, ensuring safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. All of the people saying, oh, the strait was open before Donald Trump started this war. And now they're like, oh, but Iran has shut it down. Of course, this is their only source of leverage. What did you think they were going to do? Everybody understood that this was an issue that had to be dealt with. Everybody understood that. But what would happen if Iran had a nuclear weapon? What would happen if they actually used a nuclear weapon as leverage in trying to shut down the Strait of Hormuz and exacting specific items that they want in a negotiation?
Yeah.
The president took decisive action.
He did.
And so to me, yesterday, for the first time in 47 years, the Iranian regime made a wise decision and agreed to a 2-week ceasefire. Now,
hold on a second. I agree with everything you said, all of it. I'm on the same page. Believe me, you and I are on one page, Chris Murphy, that moron's on another. But here's my question. It's not the first time Iran agreed to some type of extension. So in 2 weeks, if in fact they don't open the Strait of Hormuz like we want them to in the next 48 hours, if they're not doing what Trump wants them to do in the next 2 weeks, and Trump comes back again, and says, I'm going to blow the doors off, at what point does President Trump become the boy that cried wolf? Because if you keep promising to do something and you don't do it, eventually people are going to stop listening. That's my fear.
But wait a minute. He said last summer, if you don't negotiate within 60 days, I'm going to strike your nuclear facilities. He did it. He said to Maduro, if you don't leave, I'm going to remove you. He did it. He said to Iran, if you don't stop your ballistic missiles program, we're coming in. He did it. To say that he's not following through, he is. But he also understands that you do need to apply diplomatic pressures. You do need to try and negotiate in good faith. Again, nobody wants to blow up their energy sector or their civilian infrastructure. That is not who we are. It's not what we want to do. We are not at war with the Iranian people. We want the Iranian people to be free from this tyranny and oppression that they have been under for 47 years under the yoke of terrorism. That is what we are trying to end. So the president was right to, try to force the issue, force the regime to the table. The Pakistanis and the Chinese finally woke up and said, oh, gee, we better try and negotiate something here. And so you got a short-term agreement, which buys us time to negotiate a longer-term deal. At the end of the day, if the Iranian regime is not going to cooperate on the enriched uranium, if they're not going to cooperate on the Strait of Hormuz, then there are going to be severe consequences. And for our allies, especially our NATO allies, and for some of our adversaries like China, they are way more reliant on the Strait of Hormuz for trade and oil than we are.
Yeah, not even close.
Okay?
Yep.
And so from our vantage point, this is the president's point, and that's why you have the NATO Secretary General coming to the White House today. Get with the program, folks. You can't say, and this is the same with my Democratic colleagues, you can't say for all these years we don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon and that the regime needs to go and that they're the largest state sponsor of terrorism and do nothing about it.
Right.
This is what the Iranian regime banked on for all these years, that nobody had the balls to do anything.
That's right.
Trump actually did something.
Yep.
So for all of colleagues to say, oh, Taco, he chickened out. Fuck you.
Oh!
This idea that he chickened out.
Nonsense.
He's the first one that actually took it to the Iranian regime and said enough.
100%.
Right? So where are all these people? Where is, Joe Biden tried to renegotiate the Iran nuclear deal. Joe Biden tried to give hundreds of billions of dollars to the Iranian regime in sanctions relief. All right. That's what funded Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis. That's what allowed the Iranian regime to continue to pursue a nuclear weapon.
Correct.
That's what allowed them to build up their stockpiles of ballistic missiles.
That's right.
So you want to talk about what caused this or what the problem is? The problem was weak-kneed leadership from Barack Obama and Joe Biden and people like Macron and Keir Starmer and the Chinese Communist Party helping finance all of this by purchasing Iranian petroleum. Trump's actually doing something to stop this.
Sacco and Feliz, New York and New Jersey's premier attorneys at law. Their team brings decades of experience across a wide range of practice areas. Whatever life brings, they're your legal team. From everyday matters to complex cases, they've got you covered with the experience you need and the results you want. Because when life gets complicated, they make it simple. SaccoFeliz.com. SACCOFILLAS.com. 2 C's, 2 L's.